What does the future hold for Pierre Gasly? Mercedes have Russell, Ferrari have Leclerc, McLaren have Norris, and Red Bull have Verstappen.
With the new age of Formula One drivers already in title-contending teams with multi-year deals, this doesn't leave very much room for Pierre Gasly to make his next move. So where does he go from here? Let's talk about it.
In the past 2 seasons, Pierre Gasly has been one of those underrated drivers, putting in very impressive performances with a midfield team. But following his stint with Red Bull back in 2019, Horner and Helmut have made it clear that his chances of returning to the team are unlikely. Right now he's signed with Alpha Tauri for another season, and he's been doing great work to keep scoring strong results. But we all know it would be impossible for Pierre to compete for a world championship with this team, given that Red Bull takes priority. Even if Alpha Tauri had just as competitive of a car as Red Bull, do you actually think Horner and Marco would let the sister team take the lead? Fat chance. The only way in which Pierre Gasly could take the next step to fight for the championship would either be to get back in that Red Bull or get out of the Red Bull Academy altogether.
Red Bull have had multiple opportunities to give Pierre Gasly another chance following his stint in 2019, where he raced with Red Bull for 12 races total, scoring 63 points before replacing him with Albon. Pierre had a strong second half of the 2019 season with Toro Rosso and was very impressive with Alpha Tauri in 2020. Following these performances and Albon's struggles to adapt and meet expectations, Red Bull could have given Gasly a second chance and signed him on for 2021. However, as we know, Sergio Perez had an even better 2020 season and got offered the seat instead. And with him re-signing for 2022, it's been made clear that Red Bull have no real intentions of bringing Gasly back. And with Max still being so young, it's not like Pierre can sit around and wait for him to retire anytime soon, let alone the impossibility of Max ever switching teams. So if Red Bull and Pierre don't want each other, what else is there?
Back in the day, there was speculation that Pierre would depart from the Red Bull Academy and go over to Renault with his French ties. But those rumors were quickly squashed when Fernando Alonso was announced to the team. But this was likely for the best. If he were to have swapped over to Alpine, he would have been partnered with Esteban Ocon. And these two did not have the best relationship, so that probably would have been less successful of a pairing over their current pairing of Alonso and Ocon.
We've seen thus far with Alonso's recent podium in Qatar and Ocon's win in Hungary that this seems to be a duo that is working quite well for Alpine. Ocon has been signed until 2023 and Alonso will stick around for as long as he wants. Maybe Gasly could have swapped to Renault in 2020 to replace Nico Hülkenberg instead of staying with Alpha Tauri, but Ocon had Toto Wolff fighting for him to get back on the grid after his 1-year absence, and Gasly simply does not have the same resources to vouch for these kind of swaps.
And we saw many fellow content creators predicting this move. But at this point, even if Fernando retired once more, the only way we see it happening is if Ocon went elsewhere too, as Alpine would eventually want to promote Oscar Piastri as well, leaving no room for Pierre.
And although exploring other teams is Gasly's best bet, it would come with the risk of a performance drop. That is, of course, unless the incoming 2022 regulations truly can reduce the performance gaps between the cars and level out the playing field. But when looking at the teams in their current lineups, there's not much opportunity for him.
Alfa Romeo have so many drivers lined up for their seats, with Valtteri signing a multi-year contract and Guan Yu Zhou taking over Giovinazzi's seat. This still leaves the likes of Theo Pourchaire and other Ferrari Academy drivers left figuring out when they may get their chance. Mick Schumacher has also been frequently linked to the team in hopes of making the switch before eventually being brought up to Ferrari when the time comes. As for Haas, that's definitely not happening, nor would he ever want it to.
Williams have now acquired Albon, and we're very curious to see how that goes. Maybe it will allow Albon to thrive if the team can do well under the new regulations, but once again, it leaves no room for Gasly. Gasly.
There's also Aston Martin, who have had a bit more of a struggle this season, so it's questionable to see how their performance will be next year.
Sebastian Vettel has been hinting towards retirement more and more recently, and although he still wants to see how things go under the new regulations, that seat could potentially be opening up for him in a year or two. Gasly could probably consider this move if there are no other seats available on the grid, but long term, it's unclear whether Aston Martin will or will not ever be able to compete for a championship, which is not the direction he wants to go in.
So where else could he get a chance?
There's been rumors surrounding interest from Andretti and Porsche entering F1. Could an 11th team on the grid give Gasly an opportunity to get out of Alpha Tauri? It's doubtful, as a new team would take years of development work to get up to speed, and it's unclear whether Pierre would want to sign on for a long-term project like that.
But let's say Pierre got the chance to drive for a more competitive team. Pierre could maybe go to McLaren should Daniel Ricciardo retire. McLaren have already snatched up ex-Red Bull Academy drivers in the past with Daniel and Carlos, so perhaps they could do the same with Pierre. As for Ferrari, Sainz could eventually move on from the team, but it's quite obvious they'd give that seat to Mick as an up-and-coming star to pair alongside Leclerc. And now this leaves us with Mercedes, which we believe could be the most likely outcome after Alpine.
Hamilton is one of the older drivers on the grid and will be paired alongside Russell, who could be their future world champion once Hamilton retires. But who's in line for that seat once it opens up? Well, you heard it here first. We think Pierre Gasly could be a top candidate for it at the moment. His consistency would be a perfect fit to pair Russell for Constructor Championships and would allow Pierre Gasly to prove his worth that Red Bull gave away. It entirely depends on Hamilton and who else might be on Mercedes' driver radar. We foresee at least another 2 years of Hamilton, as he'll want to test out those new regulations. And in terms of other drivers in lower Formula Series, no Mercedes Juniors would be ready for the call-up that quickly.
So personally, we think Mercedes is his best bet, but who knows when or if that would ever be. And with several Red Bull Academy Junior drivers looking to get their shot in F1, Pierre's current seat with the team is not a long-term guarantee.
All we know is that we are excited to see where he goes next, as he seems to be one of the only talented young drivers still on the grid without a clear indication of where his future lies. He deserves to be at a top team with a fighting chance of challenging for a world championship, and we hope to see him in that position soon.
So those are our thoughts. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree? Let us know down in those comments while you're there. Don't forget to leave this video a like if you've enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button, and we will catch you in our next video.
Bye!